Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee with my lovely show host, Charlene Chamberlain. Well, Char, we've had a great morning so far.
Lots of cars this morning.
Lots of cars, a lot of information. I like the senior
That was really
segment.
good information on that senior care living.
So
really good information.
we're moving on to the law.
I know. Little serious topic here,
Little
but this
law.
gal is not that serious.
Yeah.
We've already had a great time talking this morning. Our next guest is Tyesha Miley, and no, she's not related to Miley Cyrus. But she is an attorney, and her company is called TCM Law. Welcome to Morning Coffee.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me.
No, she's not that serious until she gets in the court.
Right. Well,
Yes.
not with us.
Then it's a game changer.
Yeah,
That's right.
definitely.
Always.
So, Tyesha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you do general law?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
What's general law? I mean, just you cover anything. Anybody comes in, I have a broken
That's right.
ankle,
Anything you need.
workman's comp, stuff like that.
Anything at all. So if
Okay.
you have an estate issue, you have an issue with family law, you have something like you indicated, some sort of personal injury or bodily injury
Right.
claim. Absolutely. Yes.
Do you have, I've never asked an attorney this. Do you like to practice something in particular?
I actually like to practice something that allows me to help the client. So whatever that is, it could be something as simple as consumer debt, allowing them to get out of a collections action or dealing with a mortgage company. But as long as they're in a better place before they started the process, that's what I love to do.
Okay.
Wow, that's nice to hear.
That's interesting.
Very
What
nice
I
to
always
hear.
say, when we're younger, we have our big brothers and big sisters to go get when we get into a fight. And when you get older, it's your attorney.
Yeah.
I would get my
I
attorney.
was a big sister, so I didn't have a big sister, big
Well,
brother.
you do. If you have an attorney, you have
I
a big
do
sister.
now.
And you
I
know
do.
what? If you don't,
I do.
you need to hire her because she'll
that's
become
right.
that.
That's
I
right.
know.
You'll have me. So
There you go.
What are the most important documents someone should have?
Well, in preparing for life or the end of life stages, an individual should always have a living will, should have advanced directives. You should have a power of attorney, which you can also do with your attorney. I can do that for you or for anyone that you know.
Right.
And also a will. You need to have a will so that your things that you care about in this life, including your property or assets, money, toys, trains, and automobiles, right?
Right.
So just talking about cars all
Right.
day. If you got a car, a 1967 Corvette Classic, you want to make sure
Somebody
gets
gets
it
that.
that
Right.
takes care of it the way you did, right?
Right.
So you don't want to leave things in limbo and let the state take it. So you want to make sure you write all those things
Yeah,
down.
I always have a question about what about your digital content? Like, what if you have a website or you have
Love that
intellectual
question.
property? What if you're a recording artist and you have all of that stuff too?
That's a very important part of estate planning and often overlooked by a lot of typically older practitioners because people don't take into account that you need to have someone in line to access all of your electronic data
Right.
after you pass. Otherwise, most jurisdictions still consider it hacking. So say a loved one passes
Really?
away and you want their Facebook content because they're photographs, so you want to notify their friends that they've gone on. It's illegal for you to just go in and access their passwords. Facebook has taken some action in the last few weeks to address that, knowing that you can designate someone to be a life beneficiary for you on
No
Facebook.
kidding, I didn't
So
know that. Did
that's
you know
important.
that?
Yeah, people
Yeah.
have
Wow.
a lot of digital
That
content.
was just over the last couple weeks, right?
Just the last few weeks, yes. Now you can designate someone, but a lot of the other
Right.
websites don't have that. So you have to put that as part of your estate planning. You need
Right.
to make sure your LinkedIn, your MySpace, your website, your
Whatever you
documents,
have,
whatever you
right.
have electronically, photographs, these cloud-based,
Oh, yes.
technology. All of that needs to be in place so that your loved ones can access it after you're gone. And that's very important. Great question.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget and don't itemize those things or think about them, and that's why it's
Right.
important to consult with an attorney so that you can, because we think about the things that most people don't.
Right, and you're right. The older population, they didn't really have any of those things. Like my parents, they don't have Facebook or any of that, so they would never even, if something happened to me before them, they wouldn't think to even know about it, really.
You're right. So it's an important part of establishing a legacy, and that is why those things are part of the 4 important documents
Right.
that people need to have.
An advance directive. Just walk us through what is an advance directive.
An advance directive is set into place, and anyone can really do it with their family physician, and preferably you should, because that's where people will tend to go. When you set up an advance directive, you need to be able to say, these are the measures I would like taken should I become ill, or some sort of medical intervention is necessary to resuscitate me. These are the things I would like, food or water intervention, but maybe not
pain, but not
but not life-saving techniques.
Right.
And you have the right to choose that because it's your body and it's your state of mind. Obviously, a person has to be competent in order to create these documents, and if they are later legally defined not to be, well, then they can challenge it, and your family members can go against your will. But the Advanced Directive helps to make sure that you receive the sort of medical attention and care that you desire.
Right.
You know, you said something about being competent. I mean, you know, maybe I watch too much TV, but, you know, they always talk about, you know, like, oh, they made a will out and, you know, they're not competent. You know, they let one of the family members, you know, kind of help them and sway them. How the heck do you figure that out?
Well,
it's hard, right?
That's where the court comes in, right? So you have to prepare legal documents and actually present a brief before the court so that they know that you were competent at the time that you created the document. How do they do that? They look at things from the past. What other things were you doing around that time? Were you having any sort of erratic behaviors? Were you, you know, giving thousands of dollars to
strangers, right?
Anyone on the street? You know, were you giving you know, random talks and wah-wahs? You know, were you, you know, like, were you spitting in your own face? You know, things like that. You know, what were your behaviors and actions prior to and at the time of the creation of the documents? And they look at those things.
Would it be good to have it also documented on video? Would that help too?
That is very helpful. Most often people do not do that though. And so, and most attorneys don't employ the video technology that we have available. And then there are others who use it all the time. It's good to have it, and then it's good to have the attestations done that way as well, so that they can see that the person is doing it voluntarily, willingly, and with the knowledge of what the impact of the creation of these documents
like
are.
they're of sound body and mind, and they can actually see them on film
and
marry it to the will or the document and say, okay, well, seems like he was pretty, you know, on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of a good backup to have video.
Yes.
All right, good. We're going to go to do a quick commercial break, and we'll be back and learn some more law.
Great. Thank you.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal, a memorable family celebration. Welcome to Rod's Steak and Seafood Grill in nearby Morristown, New Jersey. Bring your appetite and feed your passion.
Your credit score is yours, and at Experian Credit Expert, we want to help you really use it. With access to helpful Experian experts over the phone and online, we can help you use it to get a better idea of what info the banks have on you. Use it to get more choice of mortgages. Use it to make your money go further. Take the next step to improving your financial future with your free 30-day trial at Experian.co.uk.
Here at Freppi's Tex-Mex, you can definitely taste the freshness in our food. You should definitely come to Freppi's because it's a great place. You can bring your family, very kid-friendly. All my servers are amazing, friendly people. Everyone here is just happy to serve, and I think it shows. The thing that sets us apart is the quality and freshness of our food. And I think once you try it, you'd be coming back. I'm Joe DeSario, co-owner of Freppies Tex-Mex in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Jim Turpin, host of Your Best 50. Please join me every Thursday at 3:30 where we'll cover topics that are important to the baby boom generation and their kids. And let us help you make this your best 50.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee, here at my lovely show host, Charlene Chamberlain. And we're getting a lesson in law, Char.
We were just joking around during the break with Tenacious
Tenacious
Ty. That's her new nickname for Morning Coffee. But no, her correct name is Tyesha Miley, and she's an attorney, and her firm is called TCM Law. So we just learned about a lot of the documents that pretty much everyone should have in their safety deposit box or at home somewhere.
That's right.
And that was a really good education.
But you know what? Also, though, I mean, I think also it's almost like a business plan. You know, but you say you put it in your safety deposit box, and that's what happens with business plans, and they never go back to them and look at them. And now they should look at these things. You know, maybe something's changed. Maybe, you know what, that person you were leaving all your stuff to turned out to be, you know, not a nice person. You want to change it.
Well, maybe they passed away.
Or
So
maybe
now
do laws affect wills as far as what, like, for instance, I know this is kind of like out there, but say they say I'm going to leave this much to this person, but then the tax laws change and it might set it to where they're only getting half of the money. So it's good to go back and look at your wills.
It's important
and stuff,
to review, like do an annual. I guess when you if I do this every year. I review my mortgage, my car insurance, my homeowners, and all that stuff. So I think that should be added to the list. Review your personal documents, right?
I can't stress enough the importance of reviewing insurance documentation as well. And a lot of people tend to overlook that. But yes, anytime there's a life-changing event, such as someone predeceasing you, or you know, even a birth into the family, right? A birth or adoption. Anytime you add to your family, or there's a loss or there's a change in circumstance. You've got a kid you wanted to leave things to, but now they're struggling with a significant drug addiction.
Right.
You know, they want to put their things in trust. So then you develop a trust for them through the attorney, and you create a trust so that they cannot access all of the assets at one time, or maybe they're living off of just portions of interest, things like that. Yeah, so it's important to review them annually, to always consult your attorney for that.
Okay, very good. So now we talked about your favorite. Well, you don't really have a favorite.
She likes everything.
She likes everything. But what do you see that's trending out there in the market? You know, I mean, I guess if you were in people being sued over things that are being said out there, God, that would be a great business. But what in the real world of law, what are you seeing?
In the real world, as you know, there's been a significant spike in civil rights actions.
Absolutely.
Primarily related to the actions involving police shootings, unarmed suspects, unarmed individuals in various parts of the country. Obviously, the impetus, I think, started with Ferguson, but it's continuing to spike, and most recently Baltimore. But I think that there are, and then of course the result in Cleveland last week with the trial with the officer's acquittal. And so there will be a continuation of civil rights lawsuits going up and around those issues as people still try to figure out how to navigate their relationship with the police, and how the police try to navigate their relationship with the individuals in the communities that they serve. And one of the important parts of that, I think, is dealing with the community-oriented policing. And when we talk about that, it has a lot to do with, of course, federally, the Department of Justice has gotten involved in several jurisdictions in the last year or so. And most notably in Philadelphia, in March of this year, 2015, they issued a report that had approximately 41 to 48 findings and 91 recommendations to implement within a 12-month period because of the insufficiency of training of recruits and officers, the lack of how we were talking about doing an annual review, how there's a lack of annual reviews of the things they learned previously, and being able to effectively police the communities in which they serve, right? Which is why it's called community-oriented policing.
Right.
So some of those recommendations are to actually have cultural immersion, right? A lot of what happens are the results of unconscious bias and being able to override that, right? So a police officer encounters a situation or an incident, and maybe he has not been trained on unconscious bias. So that impacts his ability to deal with the perceived threat. Maybe there's,
it's perceived.
Yeah, it's
That's
perceived.
the key.
Yeah,
right?
it's perceived, and there's race involved in that, and maybe he doesn't know that because he hasn't received the training on how to address that. Part of it too is being able to be immersed in the community that you serve. So, how does that work practically? What I've been seeing in Philadelphia more recently is police getting out of their patrol cars. So they park them and they walk the neighborhood like cops used to do in the 70s. In the 70s and 80s, they used to do that. You knew the names of the officers in your community.
And you
had a relationship.
Yes, and I know as a kid we knew, oh my God, if something's wrong, go to Officer Tom.
Yeah.
Right?
And he had a name, right? He's not just a policeman on patrol.
Scary policeman that you're supposed to be very afraid of.
In his car, right? So I think it brings back some of the humanity that was eroding away because police officers remained in their cars. They were kind of nameless, faceless.
They were threatening.
Threatening. It's like, who are you? You're driving by. I don't know you. And now you can see who they are. They're people, just like we're people. And they can see that we're people just like they're people. And we can have names again. We can have faces. We can have accountability. And I think that helps to strengthen the relationships and deepen those bonds on both sides.
Yeah. And we're going to take another commercial break, but I want to continue this conversation because I have a couple questions for you. We'll be right back after this break.
Here, we have an attractive orange and a distinguished apple. The two similar, but opposites. Theory, a wingman is needed, or perhaps a wing lemon. A friend to the orange and an acquaintance to the apple, the lemon brings the two opposites together. See, with a little fresh thinking, the universe can be surprisingly smooth.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Fitzpatrick's. Deli dine for breakfast and lunch. And at night, gourmet dine for dinner with entrees and specialty sandwiches including certified black Angus cuts of beef and wild-caught seafood, plus catering options for specialty events. Since 1989, Fitzpatrick's, your hometown place with upscale tastes.
Apple Ridge is about freedom. Apple Ridge is about community. Apple Ridge is about home. Apple Ridge, everything you want, more than you expect. Welcome to your new neighborhood. Apple Ridge Senior Living. Enjoy a maintenance-free, affordable luxury lifestyle today. Visit appleridgeseniorliving.com and find out more about the Apple Ridge experience.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Milan, host of Read All About It. I interview authors of all kinds about their journeys of writing and the struggles that they faced. You can watch my show at 12 p.m. on Wednesdays. Tune in to Radio Vision Networks. We hope to see you then.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee here with my co-host Charlene Chamberlain, and we are learning law
with Tyesha Miley.
Now, before break, you were saying some interesting stuff, and I do have some, like, I guess my questions are, obviously in suburbia, they know their town cops. You pretty much can get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
But, being in Manhattan and even Philly and cities, that's a little tough to get that. You know what I mean? Are they doing anything to help with that? I mean,
yes, they are doing something to help with that, and part of that is what we were discussing prior to the break, was in terms of parking the car and walking on patrol. But in addition to that, what we're seeing too is mounted police. So there's a return to some of the mounted police officers, right, which tend to engage the children more because kids love horses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they want to learn more about the horse. Maybe not necessarily the officer riding the horse, but it begins to open up a dialogue between the individuals and the police officers, because he's responsible for the horse, so they're going to start asking the police officer questions because they want to know more about that. So you may not be able to, in a large city, know every police officer that works in your police department. Philadelphia's police department, I think, is about 4,000 or so officers. It's really hard to get to know every single one. But if you frequent an area enough, you do begin to know some of the officers. And in Center City, Philadelphia, they have bike patrol. So you get to know a lot of the officers on bike patrol because they respond immediately to the retail shops in the area.
Right.
And you get to know, the faces and names. And they converse with you if you have questions about even where to go. Some of those community related things that, you say, hey, well, I don't know how to get here. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And they do that. So I do see between the bike patrols, the mounted police on the horses, and also taking the cops back to the beat, walking the beat, that there is that starting to happen in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I guess you can hang out in the donut shops too, coffee shops.
Well, there's always
You'll see enough of them, but I mean, I mean, like I said, when we were up in Manhattan a couple weeks ago, and we were walking down the street, I was like, how could you stop terrorism? There's just so many people walking around you. How could you stop all
anything?
This stuff?
Stop anything.
And stop anything. A madman could just run down the street.
Yeah.
And that does happen, right? I mean, and part of the training, and that's where a lot of the federal agencies come in and help them train with the terrorism or the anti-terrorism or counterterrorism tactics. I mean, they have so many different names now in terms of addressing terrorism. So they're trying to look for certain characteristics, right? Are you too normal? Are you walking too casually? Are you holding things? Are you diverting your attention to one area of the room? Are you kind of tuning in?
I don't know.
It's all about the body language.
So they're trained to look for those things. So because you are not engaged in illegal activity, we don't know. It's possible. But so you're not presenting any of those characteristics that they're looking for.
Oh, that's good.
But you know what you said is something that's interesting. Yeah. And I always say this, people talk about big brothers watching you. Well, if you're not doing anything, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care. Watch me. You know what? Thank God. I mean, if you have something like that's watching everybody.
Or something happens to you, I think the average person is photographed, is it 23 times a day now? Unknowingly, they're photographed 23 times a day.
Yeah.
As long as it's not in the shower. I do my best thinking in the shower. But, but seriously, I mean, I hope because I'm not doing something illegal, so I'm all right with everything. I think the people that are complaining are the people that kind of might be up to something.
Well, I think people who are up to something are always going to complain. But I think there should always be a line between complaining and addressing an attack on civil liberties, right? I mean, a person still has a right
to their privacy.
To some privacy. I mean, once you step outside, it's so significantly reduced. I mean,
nowadays it is.
Yeah, but what are we doing that really is, I don't know, like
privacy? That we need that. I don't know.
Now I was joking, earlier, we, as you can see, we're wearing the same color, and I was joking about looking in the window, but that's obviously that's going to a point of no return for as far as looking into someone's home. But when you're out on the streets, what is it,
You're public.
I don't know. What are
You're in the
what are you
public
doing?
now.
What could you possibly doing besides something that's illegal that you don't want people to see?
Right. You're either going to the store, going to a doctor's appointment, or
that's why
we're going to rob a bank.
That's why in the city, in the city, I love that there's so much surveillance because the 4,000 police officers can't be everywhere.
No.
And that's how we're catching a lot of these criminals, by going the cameras around that area and seeing who walks past them, who rides past them. Like that girl that got hit, her and her daughter, I think. And the daughter died, and they were like 3 blocks away. They caught a car going through that light.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the person. That's important.
And that's good. And that's a good thing, right? I mean, and I think one of the things you addressed was whether or not police officers should be or could be legitimately jumpy when you're talking about threats to safety and terrorism, right? And the answer to that, of course, is yes. They should always be observant and mindful of their personal safety. And I think part of the issue comes when people don't know how to have a disagreement without invading each other's personal space and boundaries, right? But in terms of what a civil liberty would be that could be infringed upon, speeding, right? I mean, so you have a camera on the highway. Most people don't think much about it until you get a ticket in the mail because you were going 15 over. And how do they know? Because they have a marker at 1 mile, and they know that if you were traveling the speed limit, it would take you this amount of time to get to the next mile marker, but you got there in half the time.
Absolutely.
So that's why I don't have
one
easy
of those
pass.
areas, right?
But see, you know what? If that's the case, but see, to me, I'm okay, and it makes me not speed if I got a ticket, because I mean, I live in a residential area that's 25, but it's an emergency route, so emergency vehicles have the right to fly down that street. And in the summertime, even any time, kids and people fly up and down the street. So to me, I want it enforced. You know what I mean? So again, it goes back to what's right or wrong, or I don't know, if you're doing something illegal.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing something illegal, I don't think we have to really question what's right or wrong, right? I think the question comes when you are possibly doing something illegal, but what is the amount of force matched to prevent you or deter you from that illegal action, right? I mean, so that's where a lot of the issues arise, right? I mean, when you look at the case in South Carolina, right? I mean, a traffic stop, broken taillight.
Really?
So I mean, it's about matching.
What was that?
Walter Lee, the officer stopped him for a broken taillight eventually, or brake light was out, and then eventually killed him, shot him as he was running away.
Oh, the guy with the child support thing.
Yes. So I mean,
that's
so
insane.
it's about how do you match the action with the deterrent. Right. And part of that is when we talk about de-escalation. And de-escalation happens, I think, naturally when people know one another, right? So that goes back to being an officer in a neighborhood that you walk and that you see the people who live there. So then when you see someone who doesn't live there or who's out of place, you recognize that more readily, and you can say, hey, what's your business here? And it's a friendly conversation. There's nothing wrong with that, approaching someone and saying, why are you here?
Honestly, if I do watch too much TV. Honestly, if you watch a lot of series, when a stranger comes into town and the sheriff
hey buddy, get on your horse and get out of here.
You're just passing through. You know what I mean? It happens though. It's legitimate. I might be a little bit alarmed. I might be a little alarmed. Like,
as the person, you would,
I'd be like,
why are you asking me?
Did I do something?
But as the person who lives in that neighborhood, I'm glad you stopped him.
Well,
what's his business
I'd
here?
rather a neighbor ask me than a police officer, though. I mean, if a neighbor says, "Hey, can I help you?" Point you in the right direction. Yeah, I'm looking for this house. If a police officer does it, okay, then the next point is like, do you have any identification? You know, and if I was in a suit, business attire, I might be like, are you serious?
Well, I mean, you have a right to say,
Right.
are you serious? I mean, that's the great thing too, right? You
Right.
can also say,
You should have that right.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but you
You
should
know?
have that right. But
You
if you do say that, next thing you know, you're getting tackled.
Well, that's what we're
That's-
talking about, right? Does that match?
No,
is
it
that
doesn't.
is that a use of force that matches the encounter?
No.
Yeah.
That does not match
No,
the
it doesn't
encounter of
match it.
asking someone,
But
why are you
but the
here?
thing is, no one knows because it's a conversation. You know, like we're in front of cameras and people are watching us, so we know. But if we were here and those cameras weren't rolling, only us.
Only we would know.
Only
we
us
would
in this
know.
room would know.
Yeah,
you
that's
know what I
right.
mean? And if I killed everybody off, only us would know. So how would they
we
know?
wouldn't know.
So,
We would, yeah,
We'd
we
be
would,
gone.
We'd know, but we wouldn't be able to tell anybody.
well, me and you would know, but everybody else in the room because I said something. You know what I mean? But it's seriously, it becomes to like that's where it becomes the battle of, what started it, what was the conversation, and I think that's what's lost. In all these cases, like look, the guy in Baltimore. That's a no-brainer. You put him into a vehicle with no safety belt, and you knew that he was going to bounce around that vehicle. You knew it.
Right.
You were trying to kind of give him a message, but you killed him.
But
That's no good.
And does
You know what I mean?
that match? It doesn't. It's not.
The kid in
doesn't work.
Ferguson, you know what? He just robbed a store. The cop never saw the videotape of him harassing the business owner, so he had to he was just acting on acting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If I saw the videotape in my police car and then I saw this gentleman,
Well,
the outcome might have,
been
the encounter would have probably been different because he was flexing himself. But other than that, he wasn't, and I just don't know. I don't know the conversation.
Right. You don't know, and they're the only ones that know.
That's the crazy thing.
And that's why there's this move for the body cameras.
I was just going to bring that up. I think that's really great
important.
that they are because it's not only protecting them, it's protecting us.
Yeah, I have a body camera on.
Yeah, well, I don't
See
know
right
what.
there. Can I get the camera guy to hit that? Oh, okay. Sorry.
So yeah, no.
You're gonna need an attorney by the end of this show, buddy.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure you have my number.
I think I need your number. I need some protection here.
Hey, she's on my side. She's in color.
I'm here for you
See
both.
that?
Oh, okay.
Boy, she's Switzerland too.
She is. I know.
I think we should do a mock trial and have her come in.
I like it.
Money's green. No.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
But back to the body cameras, I really do think that that's a great move. I think that's important because, let's face it, there are some cops out that are not so wonderful or so honest either.
No,
so
there
maybe
is.
it keeps everybody honest
Right,
on both sides,
right.
you know?
Well, that's the hope.
Yeah, so I
It
mean,
has that impact.
yeah, and I think that's a big thing. But you know what? We're going to have to have you come back and talk some more.
Oh, that'd be great.
Why don't you tell the folks out there where they can find you?
Okay, you can reach me at 267-673-8261. So that's 267-67. Oh gosh, I screwed that up. 267-603-8261. So again, that's 267-603-TCM1.
And you can also look up Tenacious Tie on the site.
After today.
After today, you can look up Tenacious Tie on there. All right, guys, this is going to conclude Morning Coffee. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a wonderful time, wonderful guest.
Thank you.
Great show today.
And we got a lot of information out of it. So stay tuned as we come to you tomorrow.